huge news coming out of the Oklahoma football program this last week, as on Wednesday night, Oklahoma head football coach Bob Stoops suspends wide receivers Trey Franks, Jazz Reynolds, and Kameel Jackson. Basically, what it leaves Oklahoma with Kenny Stills as the only receiver on the corps who has caught a pass in Division I football. Trey McTwire came in as a freshman this last spring, really impressed a lot of people, but now even more pressure is upon him to be able to perform this fall. Another guy to look at is Courtney Gardner, who is trying to get eligible by taking 6 hours this summer in a summer school course to be on campus as camp opens up in August. But the bottom line is this Oklahoma football receiving corps right now is depleted, but certainly not out of the question for these guys to still have success this fall, especially in the opener against UTEP on September 1st. Here's the reason why. We know what we're going to get out of Kenny Stills. We think we know what we're going to get out of Courtney Gardner based off of what he did last year in the JUCO ranks, over 1,000 yards receiving. And then we just need one more guy to come in there and step up to give you a good solid trio of receivers. Now that guy has to be Trey McTwire, who again we saw this last spring, never dropped a pass in competitive football over the spring, was outstanding in the spring game. If they gave away an MVP award for the offense, certainly would have gone to McTwire. So Oklahoma has a good trio to start with. A couple other things to keep in mind. The suspensions are different. Kameel Jackson's incident is completely isolated from Jazz Reynolds and Trey Franks, meaning there's a chance that Kameel Jackson could be back with this football team early in this into the season. You may think, wait a minute, I thought Kameel Jackson was transferring. What's the deal with that? Well, no news, official news, has ever come out of the university that Kameel Jackson was actually going to transfer. That was something that came from Kameel Jackson via Twitter. There's a reason why he is suspended. If he was no longer a part of this team, he would not be suspended. Now, that could obviously change over the summer months, but he says he's going to A&M. A&M says we don't know anything about it, and there's speculations that A&M would not even accept him now. So Kameel Jackson, for right now, is still part of this football program, and Oklahoma at this point, you got to think until some other word comes, they're going to have to count on him some point in the 2012 season. As far as Trey Franks and Jazz Reynolds goes, those suspensions are obviously indefinite, as was the message received Wednesday night, but they're also probably going to be longer suspensions than what Kameel Jackson's would be if he works his way back with this team in the fall. Another thing to keep in mind is two new tight ends, Brandon Green and Taylor McNamara, who had an impact this spring. Again, McNamara being the tall, lanky guy who can hit down the seam, much in the mold of Jermaine Gresham. Not saying he's going to be anywhere near that level of competition, but certainly is a guy that can make a difference. Oklahoma has options at receiver. They're just not as good as they were this time last week. SB Nation's CrimsonandCreamMachine.com. I'm Matt Hofeld.